Marco Asensio, Arsenal pre-contract being planned by the London-based club known as Arsenal in the summer to see to it that they really land in a player who plays with a left foot onto the right side of the midfield. Welcome to Rokani Media Football. Guys, how are you? I think Arsenal fans, United fans all over the world are really jubilating because this is a result that Man City has gotten, and obviously it's favoring both clubs. It's rare to see it that on the same day a same team loses and United and Arsenal are in the same shell of celebration, and the mood is really high. I believe that it has really found us in a very perfect mood right now. Arsenal 5 points clear with the game in hand. United closing on City 3 points behind City with the same number of games played. What a weekend that really looked harsh for very many big teams, and obviously most of the teams in the top 6 have dropped points. It's only Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur that have really gone ahead to win. And for Manchester United, it had gone ugly because Casemiro was given a red card. So it showed you that there was a move of almost every team in the top 6 losing. So Arsenal lost, Newcastle drew, Man City has lost, and obviously Spurs and United have gone ahead to win. Chelsea went ahead to draw, Liverpool went ahead to be beaten. So that's how harsh the Premier League ended to some teams, not some teams, but most teams vying for the top 4 positions of the Premier League. But Rokan David is my name. I'm back with the Transfer News Show, and today we are talking about Asensio, we are talking about Hudson Odoi, and we're talking about Ziyech. There is a story of Coutinho also leaving a side known as Aston Villa, and do you know where he's going to? Stay tuned onto this channel, and obviously you'll be let in the know or kept in the know of what is happening around in the world. Now, let's talk a little bit of this guy, Marco Asensio. His contract is running out in the summer. I did a story that Real Madrid is planning to really keep him because they don't want to lose him after Barcelona came in through and really wanted to go ahead and really get a deal with this guy done. Obviously, Madrid is looking like we don't want to lose another player to Barcelona, but Arsenal looks like have gone ahead to really find themselves in the battle of really landing the deal of Marco Asensio to the London Colony. Now, Mirror Football told us that Arsenal are lining up pre-agreement negotiations with Marco Asensio. One will be asking himself, why pre-agreement negotiations? Now, if you are in the La Liga and your contract is running out in the summer, you are allowed to sign a pre-agreement with a team, I think outside La Liga, to see to it that they really sign you up next season. Arsenal were eyeing for Marco Asensio in the summer after losing out on Rafinha going to Barcelona. Now, that's when Callum came in through, and Arsenal shifted their attention from Marco Asensio to Callum Modric. In that summer, they thought they'd go in and really sign him up. When they inquired him and when they inquired about him, and they told them that the player could go for 30 million euros, no, 50 million euros. That's what they said. Arsenal said, all right, let's keep our cool on the player. Maybe we'll go out on for him next time. But when they made up their mind to go up for him in January, 100 million euros were called, and Chelsea hijacked the player from them. Now, looks like in the January transfer window, they went in for Trossard. The left side is really covered. Martinelli, Emily Smith-Rowe, Trossard, and Reece Nelson. Central defense, they brought in a left-footed centre-back known as Jakub Kiwior, covered. Then they've also brought in Jorginho in the midfield. They are going to go in the summer and really bring in a midfielder. All right, so that means one of the positions that are really giving Mikel Arteta a headache is the right attacking side of the midfield, or the right wing, where Bukayo Saka plays. If you've seen Bukayo Saka for the previous 3 games, he has not always been impressive as you expect him to be, meaning that he's being played a lot, and fatigue is really catching up on that 21-year-old English international. Now, you can't go all out when you're having Bukayo Saka, a player who's just 21 years of age, and then you sign a player in his age bracket. That means you need to bring in a player who is older than him, because a player that is just 2 years younger than him has failed to really break into or break through the starting 11 of Arsenal. That player is called Marquinhos. He was loaned to Norwich. As Arsenal did to Martinelli and brought in Trossard, 28 years of age, Martinelli is 21 years of age. I think that balance will work out perfectly. So I think Arsenal are trying to go out and really say Marco Asensio is 26. Let's get in this player, provided he's going to be out for free. Now, if Arsenal get him on a free, it really help them ease in their financial fair play preventions, because they don't want to be into, they wanted to put themselves in a position of being on the right side of the financial fair play rule, not like teams like PSG, Manchester United. They couldn't spend in January because they feel like if they are to spend, they had to sell. They are not on the right side of the financial fair play rule. So Arsenal wants to bring in Marco Asensio, and if at all they happen to really scoop this deal and get him in, I believe Marco Asensio will be an upgrade on Bukayo Saka. Asensio is better than Bukayo Saka. Where Arsenal is going to be playing the Champions League, competing for the Premier League. You need in winners in that team. Because Arsenal really having players in that age bracket of 21, 22, 23, Odegaard is 24. So you need in other players that have known winning for a very, very long time. Marco Asensio, 5 Champions Leagues onto his head. One player, La Ligas, Copa del Reis. He knows how to win. Arsenal needs such players. And I think now Mikel Arteta now has really gotten to that. Now I need in experienced players who know how to do these things. On Saturday, you have Marco Asensio on the bench. Take Bukayo Saka off. Get him on. Activity from the right side increases, because this guy scored a goal over, I think, last weekend that was really out of this world. He's a natural. He's swift. He takes on players. His energy is undoubted, and trust me, he has an end product onto his game, and I believe he'll be a very good signing for Arsenal. So let's wait and see what the deal is going to be like for him signing a pre-contract with Arsenal. If at all it matures, all materializes, I'll be coming here to really let you know about what has really happened between Arsenal and a side called Real Madrid's Marco Asensio. Now, Court of Side has also gone ahead to confirm to us that Real Madrid's Marco Asensio is eyeing a move to the Gunners at the end of the season. The report claims the Spanish midfielder is thinking of rejecting a contract offer with the La Liga giants in favor of a move to Arsenal. Now, when I hear this, it boils out into two, or it boils out twice in my mind. One, it might be true that Asensio wants to come to the Premier League, or he's pushing to show to it that I'm having suitors in the Premier League and they're leading the table. They're even going to win the Premier League. They're going to win the Premier League this season, that are really in need of my signature. So if at all you don't give me the amount of money that I want, then I'm leaving. I think even that's where Barcelona comes in through, and very many other teams like Liverpool going in for Marco Asensio. But I believe if Marco Asensio decides to leave Real Madrid, I believe there's going to be a very huge team that will take him on, according to what I'm getting from different sources. But it can also be true Marco Asensio can be wanting to join Arsenal. The most convincing project right now in world football is the project that Mikel Arteta is really overseeing at Arsenal. No project, let no one lie to you, it's the most convincing project. Do you know why? It really gives Arsenal a very good prospect. The future is bright. The players are young. Asensio, at 26 years of age, Arsenal signing him right now would see him really elevate the team of Arsenal, and also do things that could really make him one of the best players in the world, because he has the potential. But at Madrid, he's so much covered by very, very many players. And I think Asensio wouldn't be afraid of coming to Arsenal because there is Bukayo Saka, because he knows that I'm way far a baller than Bukayo Saka, and Mikel Arteta won't really try to really not give me enough playing time. Obviously, let's leave the Marco Asensio story at that and see what it's going to develop into. And then let's go to Callum Odoi. Even in the summer, Arsenal was linked to wanting Callum Odoi from Chelsea, but Jakob Steinberg football reporter for The Guardian, has went ahead to let us know that Callum Hudson Odoi is unlikely to stay at Chelsea once he returns from his loan at Bayern Leverkusen. It is understood that Arsenal are tracking the player. One would say, what does Mikel Arteta want from Callum Hudson Odoi? I think Callum Hudson Odoi is one of the direct players I've seen. His physicality is really great, and I think Mikel Arteta might be seeing something special in this player, and not downplay the efforts of this guy, because I see a lot of potential in him. Amidst him going to Leverkusen and things are not working out well, I think Mikel Arteta sees something special in this guy. Last season, everyone was saying, every Arsenal fan, almost of Arsenal fans, were telling Mikel Arteta to let Granit Xhaka leave the club of Arsenal because he threw down the armband. He went all head-to-head with the fans of Arsenal, and they really had a very bad time. But because Arteta saw the potential in this player, he kept him around, polished him off, and obviously he's now one of the best players we've seen in Arsenal's shirt this season. So even Callum Hudson Odoi, give him a benefit of doubt. If it's true that he's being wanted by a team called Arsenal, there must be something great. And obviously Arsenal have already done business with Chelsea, meaning that they can go ahead and really get this player. And with the players that Chelsea have signed in, obviously Callum Hudson Odoi has no position to play into that that Chelsea side, and he will be welcoming a deal of Arsenal taking him to Emirates, I believe. And Chelsea will have no problem of selling the player, because on the loan where he has been, he has not been really elite. But Graham Potter is also a manager who likes players like Callum Hudson Odoi, young, strong. He has some quick feet, technically gifted. So let's wait and see that decision is going to be taken by the club of Chelsea on Callum Hudson Odoi, but Arsenal looks like they're knocking on the door to get him in. Then even The Guardian have also gone ahead to confirm to us that Arsenal, according to The Guardian, Arsenal interested in Isamamo for Chelsea's Callum Hudson Odoi, CHO, highly rated by Chelsea fans. Callum Hudson Odoi, high rated by Chelsea fans. Arteta big fan and was keeping tabs on him before Leverkusen loan. That's true. Arsenal was linked to Callum Hudson Odoi. That's it. And Arteta was keeping tabs on the player. He wanted the player to come in through and play for Arsenal, but obviously he decided to go on loan. And by the time, Chelsea had not yet brought in players as they brought in right now. Ever since Callum Hudson Odoi left, when you look at the wingers, they've brought in Mukalu Modric, there is Madueke, there is Yao Felix, because he can also play wide, there is Sterling, there is the player they brought in. Have I talked about Modric? So they've brought in very many players that play in the wide areas. When you add on Kai Havertz, Ziyech, and very many others, so he is way even in the top 10 priorities of Graham Potter. The Chukwuekas are also there. There is Hutchinson, who came in from Arsenal. So looks like everything is out of reach of this guy, and the only option he's left with is to go where he's needed. And Mikel Arteta is putting in interest of really signing the player, and we've been told that he's a big fan of Callum Hudson Odoi to come in at Arsenal. So that is it. Callum Hudson Odoi at Arsenal. I don't know what your thoughts are about the player, but I believe he is really one of those that can really make things happen at a side known as Arsenal, and Mikel Arteta is a big fan. Now, after this, we've gotten a story coming in from Telefootball. PSG's football director has gone ahead and really spoken out onto the deal of Ziyech and how it declined on the how do we term it, on the dying hours of the transfer window. He's telling us that we did everything for Ziyech to join PSG, also on player side, but as with all transfers, you need all three parties to work well. I worked well for PSG, Ziyech, but unfortunately, it didn't work well for the third party, that is Chelsea. So, looks like Chelsea never wanted to let Ziyech go. And I was so much surprised when I heard that he was going to PSG on loan, because even when the Modrics were here, the Yao Felixes were here. I believe that ever since Graham Potter came in through, his best player has been Ziyech, and Ziyech went to the World Cup and performed very well. I think he changed the mindset of the club, and they really tried to rely on him and say, all right, let's keep the player. But the player trying to push for move to go to PSG, because he was also unrealistic about his future at Chelsea because of the many players Chelsea are bringing in, for the fact that why would they go on market to bring in players that play in his position when they trust him? So he also had a point and was pushing for the move. So what Chelsea did, they sent PSG 3 documents that were supposed to be handed into the French Football Federation, confirming the approval of Chelsea to give them Ziyech on loan when they are fake. 18 seconds after the transfer window was really closed, then they sent the real document that was in line to allow the transfer of Ziyech to happen. So that's how ugly it really went, and PSG feel like Chelsea are really a bad team to really work with and to deal with, and stories coming in from PSG include all indicate that they won't at any time deal with Chelsea, never in life. But I believe Chelsea was also revenging because you know that they went in for Kimpembe, and Kimpembe, is it Kimpembe? Kimpembe, one of those. He's a central defender playing with the left foot. But PSG played them around and the player stayed at their team. So I think Chelsea were revenging to the player known as was revenging to the team of PSG for having also done the same tricks with them on Kimpembe. The player wanted to come, they had agreed personal terms, but PSG did certain nitty-gritties, and obviously the player stayed at the club. So I think for Chelsea board, it's a sweet, sweet revenge for the player and the board. Now let's go to Coutinho, who has really fallen out of the picking order of Aston Villa ever since Unai Emery came in through Steven Gerrard. Under his era, he was a regular. This time round, he's not a regular. And they paid £40 million for him. Looks like Unai Emery is not interested in the services of him and is ready to throw him under the bus. Now, Ekrem Konar, he's a transfer expert from Turkey, has told us that Corinthians are preparing a new offer to Aston Villa to sign Philippe Coutinho on loan. Aston Villa may allow the Brazilian player to leave permanently. 2 clubs from Brazil are monitoring Coutinho's situation. And I believe very many players have been playing the Premier League who are Brazilians. With their careers not going the right way, they go back home, revive their career, and they find their way back to Europe. Look at Andreas Pereira right now at Fulham. United loaned him to Flamengo last summer. He played very well. On his return to Manchester United on loan, because the loan had expired in the summer, so he returned, and Marco Silva, the Fulham manager, picked interest in him, and they paid £10 million for him. The other one that has seen it work well for him is also at Fulham, Willian. Willian was signed by Arsenal on a free transfer in the summer of 2020 and had one of the worst seasons in his life that I've ever seen. After terminating his contract in the summer of 2021 with Arsenal, he went to Brazil. Was he playing for Botafogo? What team was he playing for in Brazil? Then, after having a very good season, he returned to the Premier League and is playing for Fulham. And very many players have decided to go back home and really get their career back to where it's supposed to be, return back to the Premier League, and they're really working well. So I think Coutinho will also find himself into that fit, and it will work out for him like a charm because he's a talented player, but he made a very bad move. You know, agents and money have costed players their careers. Coutinho had even the chance to win a Ballon d'Or at Liverpool. He was the best player at Liverpool, and his departure gave Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane a shine. He was the poster boy at Liverpool. That was the guy. He was the poster boy. He was the headline actor at Liverpool. But when he left, Mo Salah took over his place and Sadio Mane. So, bad decision made by this agent, reached to Barcelona, never really played very well. How much was signed for £130 million from Liverpool, loaned to Bayern Munich. He won a Champions League, returned to Barcelona, loaned to Aston Villa, and then sold. So, looks like Coutinho's journey in the Premier League has ended. He wants to go on loan and play in Brazil. Then later, he'll make a decision on whether he'll turn back to the Premier League. So, your thoughts on Arsenal Marco Asensio pre-contract loading? Then, what are your thoughts about Coutinho leaving Aston Villa? Would you like a Premier League team to sign him or really go out and play out in the Brazilian League? What are your thoughts about Hudson Odoi? Hudson Odoi being wanted by Mikel Arteta, and Mikel Arteta is a big fan. Would you want him at Arsenal? And lastly, your thoughts about Ziyech's move that was denied by Chelsea on the deadline day. Rokani David is my name. I think we are done. Last video of the day. Thank you guys for watching in through. Alright, this is Rokani David. I sign out for now. See you later. Tomorrow is Monday, and you know how we do it. 5 videos tomorrow. Thank you for watching in through. I sign out. Good night. May the Lord bless you abundantly. Bye-bye.